Hello and welcome to PFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Hartitz. Happy Best Ball Wednesday. For the better part of the next 4 months, we're going to be doing a best ball stream, usually courtesy of the fine folks over at Underdog Fantasy, made from FFPC as well. And by we, I mean myself and none other than PFF's resident fantasy rock star, Dwain "The Rock" McFarland. Dwain, happy Best Ball Wednesday, man. We got our brews. Great day to be great.
Got our brews, we got our drafts, and we got our draft. That's how we roll. That's how we roll, Ian. You know, if you need a dad joke, just pitch it to me.
We are in the $5 Underdog lobby. We have the screen share going. Those of you on YouTube, you can also check out the video over on Spotify. So I'll have the queue up, and we are picking spot number 10. Draft was just able to fill. We'll make sure to go through some of the teams of the people that are with us. We'll be having these go live, so you guys can comment with us at some point in the future. Not today, though, Dwain, because, you know, I kind of want to get our own personal strategy figured out with this. I love everyone else's opinion out there, but I want us to go through a couple of these on our own and figure out what's going to happen, because we've done our ranks, we've done our tiers, we've done all this. But as we talked about, actually having some money in the game, albeit $5, maybe not the biggest sum in the world that we're risking here, but actually having to make these decisions on, I believe, a 30-second clock is going to, I think, have some nice revelations to us out of every position.
Yeah, absolutely. And so picking it, you know, just right off the bat, you know, the draft starts here in 8 seconds. At pick 10, like, I really like the idea of going receivers early, especially in this format, because of right now we want to take advantage of the discounts that are at running back. Like, you and I both talked about Fournette. We've talked about James Conner. There's a ton of guys lower than that, like Kareem Hunt, Cordarrelle Patterson, you can get for almost nothing. Kenneth Walker is a guy we've talked about. Chase Edmonds going late in drafts. So I feel like it's a good opportunity for us to, you know, take 2 receivers at the turn. We'll see what falls. Like, if, you know, if there's just a running back that we feel like that we can't, you know, deny, obviously we're not just gonna pass on it. I'm hoping, like, I would love for it to be Justin Jefferson, Ian. I'm not gonna get too hyped up first draft, but Justin Jefferson's like the dream scenario at pick 10.
Top 4 picks: Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Cooper Kupp. People are not worried about Derrick Henry at all, Dwain. And it is a little bit surprising to me. You know, we talked about, I won't spare everyone my Ezekiel. I won't make everyone listen to my Ezekiel Elliott rant twice in 2 days. But I do wonder, like, Elliott and CPAT, it seems like they are dinged for trying to play through their injuries at the end of the year, more so than guys like Derrick Henry and DeAndre Swift, who were just out of the picture and they were hurt. So it's something to keep in mind there with the running backs that were banged up last year. Because I see everyone, and they go, oh, what about Patterson's last 6 games? Yeah, he was playing through, I believe, a high ankle sprain, man. That's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've almost seen that analysis drop from every Cordarrelle Patterson quote that I've seen. It's kind of funny. Oh, there goes Justin Jefferson.
2 spots ahead.
Eckler, Chase, also off the board. But yeah, it seems like for whatever reason, like most people are pretty good about remembering injuries. But for whatever reason with Patterson, I think it's because it was almost like, oh man, it's just too good to be true that this even happened. And so now we're just going to immediately discount, you know, the performance that we saw from Cordarrelle Patterson. You know, and look, there's plenty of you know, things that we don't like about Patterson. It looks like we are on the clock here.
All right, Dwain. So I think Stefan Diggs is the best receiver available here. He's my wide receiver.
I'm good with Stefan Diggs. We talked about him last week. He's in the same tier. You know, I've got him in the 1B tier with Adams, Hill, Deebo Samuel, and Diggs. I will say, according to Underdog ADP, if we want to get 2 of these guys, the best way to go is grab Adams here and have Stefan come back if you're willing to try to maximize. You got to do it. Go.
No, it's okay. We'll maximize another day, Dwain. Stefan Diggs, come on down, 1-1. Yeah, I agree with you. He's in that tier, but I have him at the top of that tier for a reason. We don't have to worry about the quarterback change that each and every one of Adams, Hill, and most likely 80% or so Deebo will be handling. Right after Diggs, Joey Mixon at 111, Travis Kelce at 112, and Deebo Samuel at 2-1. So, Dwain, we will still be able to get one of Adams and Hill if we want them.
Yep. And I think that's the direction to go.
Either one.
Yeah. I would say go Adams, but I mean, if you want Hill, I'm also look, they're in the same tier. So when I'm in the same tier, I have flexibility. I think once we start tracking these and we're like, okay, here's our exposure to players later.
Who do you believe more in? Who do you believe more in, Derek Carr or Tua?
I believe more in Derek Carr.
There we go. Let's go with Devontae Adams. I think that's That's what it comes down to in this, man. It's close.
And look, the main thing I wanted to test here is let's get 2 receivers, and I want to see how the running backs shake out. Like this is what I wanted to test out. And so a $5 draft is the perfect place to do that.
We're trying to figure out the strategy. Dwain, you have a cool article coming out later this week. We might actually be talking about it more specifically tomorrow, but I saw in the PFF content chat where we got to submit our articles every week. You are reverse engineering ADP to try to find out the perfect best ball draft. You want to tell the people a little bit about that project? Because being on the turn, it's going to be a little bit before our next pick.
Yeah, I mean, and if folks have heard me talk before, they know this. Every year, I think, is a little different. Like, there's different strategies that we can deploy. There's macro strategies when we want to think about zero running back, hero RB, anchor RB, so there's all these different things that we can talk about. But I really do believe each year the starting point is what do the player pools at each position look like? What are the strengths later in the draft? And when I say later, like, even 7th, 8th, the 9th round, like what do you feel really strongly about? Last year, we both loved Jalen Waddle. Well, if you think that Jalen Waddle can be your wide receiver 3, and you're trying to fill 2 flex spots and you got 2 wide receiver starters, then that gives you a lot of flexibility to think about how you're going to handle receivers early in the draft, right? Or what else you could do in those rounds in front of Jalen Waddle. Even if you have Waddle ranked higher, if you can come in and you can grab a running back and pick 7 or round 7, round 8 that you really want to get your hands on, Waddle gave us that type of flexibility last year. So that's really what it's about. Look at that. Fournette already off the board, man.
I think people are realizing it pretty quickly. I was looking at some of the reception leaders today because before Fournette got hurt, it was looking like he was going to actually lead the entire running back position and receptions and targets. Ended up not being the case. Najee Harris took those honors. But among running backs that averaged at least 4 receptions per game, Christian McCaffrey was the only guy above 5. But right behind him was Leonard Fournette at just 4.9. Someone else in my mentions was kind enough to bring out, I believe there were 6 guys I listed. James Conner, when Chase Edmonds was hurt, was also someone averaging over 4 receptions per game. So that's the thing, Dwayne. Like, I think it's maybe the more casual crowd that are just scoffing at Fournette and Conner as these first-round potential running backs, because what we saw from their workload last year was exactly what we would hope for in a workhorse running back.
Yeah, I think the main thing, you've just really got to avoid like a Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker detonation in either spot. What's funny is Mel Kiper, I think, actually mocked Breece Hall in his latest mock to the Bucks. And I was like, no.
Come on.
Don't do this to us. And I don't even know how connected Mel is anymore. Like, he's not someone, and this isn't a knock on Mel Kiper. I used to love him when I was young, but there's just so many other people I pay attention to, like Dane Brugler. Sure. I love listening to, Daniel Jeremiah, and then we've got Renner here. Like, so there's just so many other people that, I listen to, that I don't listen to Kiper much. And so when I saw that, I was kind of like, whoa, okay.
I do like seeing, I always see Marcus Mosher has been on this podcast several times.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great follow on Twitter, and he'll always be tweeting out, like Mel Kiper breaking down this like 1998 draft pick. I mean, that dude, like, I think Kiper and like Peter King, like, okay, yeah, it's 2022. The guys maybe aren't putting in the same sort of grind. Dwayne, you put me in this industry for 30 years. I'm not so confident I'm going to be the same guy in 2050 as I am today. So we'll see with that. But again, true OGs of the game, and I love anyone that can help elevate our funny little sport here in these dog day months, because Dwayne, it is April 6th after all, and here we are grinding through the draft. We are up in 4 more picks. We had our first quarterback go off the board, Patrick Mahomes at 3.6. Yeah, I'm not going to be making a pick even somewhat similar to that, I think, throughout this whole season. But as we sit here, Dwayne, at the 310 spot, got Antonio Gibson, Cam Akers, a bunch of wide receivers. Do we want to get our running back here, or do you think we should maybe again go ahead and re-up on wide receiver?
I'm thinking re-up on wide receiver first, or if you want to get a share of Kyle Pitts, like I'm trying to pull up the 80, pull them up real quick. And these ADPs aren't accurate. That's the problem. Like, they're not refreshing right now. So on Underdog, so I don't even know where Pitts is going right
now. Okay, how about Terry McLaurin?
I like McLaurin. I like DJ Moore. Obviously, Calvin Ridley is out. I would be good with either one of those. And then I think you come back. There goes Aaron Jones.
Who do you think we have a better chance at getting, McLaurin or Kyle Pitts on the wraparound?
Well, I think on the wraparound, we may need to go ahead and grab James Conner if he hasn't gone. I haven't been able to keep full track. I've been trying to mark people off, but using the strategy that we used, I want Conner with one of these two picks. I don't really want to mess around with it. I honestly wouldn't mind if we went Conner first, just because he's the last guy in my 1C tier available. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 receivers in the tier that are in the same tier as Terry McLaurin. I know you probably have Terry a little bit higher than me, but I still have him in my top 20.
We did end up going with Terry.
Hey, we did? Okay.
We're loaded. It's okay. It's okay. Dude, Conner right now, talking about ADP not catching up, he's all the way down there at RB29. We are just taking over the $5 market, Dwayne, with some of this analysis we got going on here. Conner's going to be there. Pitts is, Graham Cracker 9-4 snipe Kyle Pitts. Okay, that's fine. Fair play to you, Graham Cracker. Does it make it easy, Dwayne? Are we going to go for Conner?
Yeah, I think you just grab Conner. Like, the strategy worked the way we want to. He could take a direct hit in the draft, but I think most likely this is an ADP. It's going to move into the mid-third, and right now we're getting him at the beginning of the fourth. So that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to take advantage of the edges that we can get in early ADP. The other option, I think it's Conner. The only other option would have been going another receiver at that point.
After 4 rounds, our RB1 is James Conner. Wide receiver 1, Stefan Diggs. Wide receiver 2, Devontae Adams. Wide receiver 3, Terry McLaurin. I don't like it. I love it. Not going to have a chance to be able to stack Diggs with Josh Allen. I'm assuming he's going to be well gone by the time we get back around. But, man, if we were able to go ahead and get a Derek Carr in there as a late-round quarterback, and then maybe wrap it around with Carson Wentz at the very end of the draft, I like what we're building here, Dwayne. We're going to have a chance to also get Logan Thomas late if we decide to go the Carson Wentz route. A lot of options right now with these 3 receivers.
Yeah, I like the start. Especially like this is our first one, so we'll start to get a better feel for them and like what a really good draft is versus like what an average draft is. But I do like being put on the clock with this stuff. Just having the 30 seconds is definitely like, I'm still talking and Ian's like, yep, we took Terry McLaurin. Ian's like, I have the controls. That's okay. Over an FFPC, Dwayne's going to have the controls. So, well,
Dwayne, here's the thing too. If we have
I like McLaurin. Like from a strategy standpoint, I would have taken the running back in the tier. But it's also where you may have had your tier split where you got McLaurin. If you have McLaurin in the same tier as Hopkins, Allen, and Evans, well, then, it could go your way.
It would have been better to go Conner because, I do think he was the last remaining running back in that tier. McLaurin was there where, I have McLaurin ahead of DJ Moore and like Michael Pittman and some other guys, but at the same time, it is much closer between them that I think Conner and whatever running backs were going around him. Breece Hall off the board with the first pick in the 5th round ahead of guys like Travis Etienne, Elijah Mitchell, Michael Carter, Devin Singletary. Dwayne, that seems like a reasonable enough spot for him, though. I mean, we were talking yesterday about how like we cannot see Breece Hall getting into the 2nd round right now. Beginning of round 5, though, that seems manageable enough.
Yeah, and so we're still in round 4 on his pick, weren't we? Or did he go 5-1? Oh, yeah, 5-1. I love Breece Hall. Like, I think he's going to settle in as an early 4th, late 3rd round pick, which is really, what his ADP has told us. So when you can get exposure to him, but beneath that, I think you absolutely should take it. I'm just not reaching for him right now, just because there's not a ton of backfields, Ian, that we can look at and say, wow, yeah, he's really going to land there. And all of a sudden, everybody's just going to go nuts over him and move him up. Like, he'd have to land with the Bills, the Eagles, something like that for his ADP to really go bananas. We saw Marlon Mack hold Jonathan Taylor down, a couple of years ago, where he never, he stayed pretty much at the end of the 3rd, middle of the 4th. So it's tough for me to think Breece Hall is really going to get much higher than that. Anything can happen, but landing spot's going to be key for him to really go higher.
I want Travis Etienne here, Dwayne. I want Etienne bad. If Steve the Weave is going to take that opportunity from us, I'm going to be pissed at both Steve and Weave. So come on, we got 5 seconds. I don't want to get sniped again. It's too early in the offseason for me to be feeling bad.
I'm assuming.
Yes,
let's go. DJ Moore went. I'm trying to keep up as much as I can. See, but yeah,
best wide receiver available is like Hollywood Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I would love to take Amon-Ra coming back around. I would be open to one of the tight ends, Hawkinson, Goddard.
I want Etienne. He's a 3-down running back.
No, I'm talking coming back. I'm fine going Etienne here. Yeah.
Thank God. Okay.
Etienne is one of 2 backs available in a tier right now, and then there's a drop.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Again, James Robinson, hardly a guarantee to be ready for week 1. Maybe he starts the season on the pup. Maybe he doesn't play at all. Like the sort of confidence we're giving him with this recovery from the Achilles is kind of mind-boggling, to be honest. Regardless, we could see ETN work as the RB1. I understand Urban Meyer's gone. The GM that took ETN in the first round in the first place is not gone. So keep in mind just how good of a receiver he was coming out of Clemson. He has that explosive ability we were chasing. Love me some ETN as a true RB2. Dwain, I don't love going after a Hawkinson or Goddard here. I think we can maybe wait, and I'm fine getting the tier of like Schultz to a Zach Ertz later. Why
Did David Montgomery go? He did, didn't he? Yeah. I don't see him in your queue. He has to.
He's gone.
Okay.
He's gone.
Just making sure. No, I honestly, dude, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I love. Do I need to say it again? Love.
One more.
Good.
One more.
I'm good. Love.
Okay.
It.
Okay. I got it. I moved him to the top after that. Amon-Ra
just...
St. Brown. I have an article go up on PFF.com on Thursday about 25 players who are still on their team. They weren't necessarily a free agent to begin with, but because of moves their team has made throughout the free agency period, I have them as a big winner with their stock moving up. And Amon-Ra St. Brown was one of them. And it wasn't just that like I'm not afraid of DJ Chark, Dwain, but like also low key. They re-signed Khalif Raymond. They re-signed Josh Reynolds. Like guys that are going to take up snaps, which is fine because they're taking them up on the outside and they're guys that we've already seen the sun god work well ahead. So yeah, we got Hawkinson and Swift coming back. But the other big news is that Jared Goff seemingly more and more day in and day out. I know some people are projecting Malik Willis to go number 2 Detroit. Then we got Peter King saying that a lot of folks think that he's going to require, a redshirt year of sorts in the first place. So it looks like more so today than it did when the season ended that Jared Goff is back. And based on these wide receiver moves, man, if you were going to tell me the Lions were going to make 3 moves at wide receiver to start this offseason, and it was re-signing Reynolds and Raymond and going out and getting DJ Chark, I don't know how else you can say that other than it's a massive win for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, and I just feel so good about Amon-Ra St. Brown that I honestly, where we just got him, I don't really care I don't care. They could draft Drake London in the first round, and I think Amon-Ra St. Brown can still have a role. Like he just checks too many boxes. The one thing we didn't talk about there, Ian, that may have been a mistake, Kyler Murray, my number 2 quarterback, was on the board. I didn't even notice. So pull up the QB tier or the QB queue real quick.
Burrow, Lance,
you have to get a few of those over there. We're going to have to get we need to get a quarterback probably on this next time around.
All right.
There goes Brady.
Ooh, if Burrow's still there, we're not going to be able to stack them, but.
And here's the thing. We're not playing in a huge tournament right now. This is just a 12-team league. So stacks, like they can still be positive, but they're not like a must-have.
What if Singletary's still there for us? Or are we just that convinced the Bills are going to take a running back?
I'm fine. What round are we in? We're in the 7th round.
7, yeah. It'll be end of 7th. That's a pretty good spot.
It's a decent spot. Let's see what happens with the quarterback. There goes Kadarius Toney. Did Marquise Brown go? Did Hollywood go?
Hollywood's well off the board. I think.
All right.
Oh, Adam Thielen just went.
Hooked on a Thielen.
Classic.
So you got Allen Robinson still sitting there. Singletary is in a tier. Did J.K. Dobbins go?
Yeah, he's well gone. That's what I'm saying. It's like Singletary and a bunch of RB3s at this point. I got Rashad Penny.
Look at the tight ends real quick for me. Sorry. I'm just trying to keep up with everything.
Goddard, Knox, Freiermuth. We don't need to. Hey, I'll throw his name in there. Strong. You want to have another Zach Gentry conversation, Dwain?
No.
Zach Ertz is the best. Zach Ertz is the best tight end available.
So there's
actually no Gronk's still available.
Is he? Yeah, he's down. One more.
Is he? Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he is. I just saw him.
All right.
There goes Goddard.
Do you want to go with Burrow?
We've got to take a tight end or a quarterback for sure with one of these 2 picks because we don't want to be completely like hemmed in needing both.
Bro, I think people might be forgetting about Gronk. I think we might be able to risk getting Gronk.
So I'm fine risking it for Gronk.
Okay.
What quarterbacks are available? Show me.
Burrow
is. I think Burrow's an automatic pick here. I think you just take him.
All right, we go with Burrow. Fingers crossed that Singletary.
And I still like Tyler Boyd as a player that, look, I know he's wide receiver 3 on that team, but if for some reason Jamar Chase misses time, if T. Higgins misses time, we know Tyler Boyd's proven. And it's an offense that we think could take a step forward. So I love actually getting Joe Burrow here.
Maybe we can
the
grab
other player you could have
grab
talked me
Hayden
into-
Hurst at the very end.
Yeah, the other player you could have talked me into here would have been Russ Wilson, but I have Burrow ahead of Wilson.
So you ever play Weddle, Dwayne? It's like the NFL equivalent of Wordle.
No.
It's pretty great, man. You have eight guesses to like pick a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end. And it'll tell you if you're like in the right conference. It'll tell you the height, the number, if you're higher or lower on the guy. So like if I guess Josh Allen and the actual answer is Kyler Murray, it'll be like quarterback correct, team not correct, not in the right conference.
Okay,
he's smaller and the number's lower and stuff like that. Tyler Boyd was the answer like yesterday. I didn't realize he was 6'2", man. Maybe it's like my slot.
I was thinking 6'1", to be honest.
Yeah,
like
that's why I crossed him off.
I've looked at his stuff enough. So yeah, Patterson, Ayuk just went off the board. AJ Dillon
Devin Singletary. Here we go. This is great.
Is that who you want?
Or do we? Yeah, I think so.
It's either Singletary or Kenneth Walker. I think it's one. I like Kenneth Walker, but I have them in the same tier, both in 3A. So I'm not making huge stands right now. If it's in my tier, I'm good.
Devin Singletary it is. I think the pass down stuff is a serious concern with Kenneth Walker. It's the game we play, man. We want those reception targets. We don't know if he can. I understand it's the Michigan State offense. It's just the stuff with Kenneth Walker, man. Like, are we that confident that he's just so much more of a pure runner that he should be going, rounds ahead of these guys? I'd rather, I see the Breece Hall alert. We cannot find a red flag with the guy, but Kenneth Walker versus James Cook and some of these other running backs, I'd rather just take the dart throw, multiple rounds later.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm mostly fading, Singletary right now, but I mean, in the 8th round, I mean, I'm fine with it. He's a guy that, like, if he falls past his ADP, I want exposure, but if he's going at or above, I'm pretty much going to avoid him in most drafts, but totally get like the thought process on him.
We got him at pick 87. His ADP is 75. We got ETN. We got ETN 5 picks after ADP, reached big time on Connor, but again,
we didn't really reach that far. It says 93, but that's not updated.
Especially relative to our ranks, we actually got him at good value. Joe Burrow, we got pick 82. Regular ADP is 58. Surprised to see him there.
Value drafting is still alive when it's this good.
I absolutely love it. I also shout out to Underdog Fantasy for using the Joe Burrow with the sunglasses and the chain on pick instead of his usual, usual game get up. So pretty good. Feeling good about
Miles
this.
Sanders, did Rondale Moore just go? Did we just lose Rondale Moore?
Bateman. I think we're still clear.
Rashad Bateman, Drake London. No, I think Rondale Moore went too. Kareem Hunt.
Oh, yeah. Good.
It's okay.
Good pick there.
Sure. I'm trying to mark off since I can't really see the whole queue. Trying to make sure I'm keeping up.
Best wide receivers available right now: Bobby Trees, Tyler Boyd, Christian Kirk, Olave, Corey Davis, Jameson Williams.
So Garrett Wilson and Traylon Burks went.
Michael Gallup, wide receiver 57. Sign me up.
So Wilson and Burks went. Rookies.
Yes.
Did Kenneth Walker go? Sorry, this is terrible podcast. Like I haven't asked if somebody went. But I'm looking at my tiers, and so there goes Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds, that's a pretty good value getting. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still on the board. Dwayne, I think Clyde's a winner from free agency. Rojo's going to get some early down work. That's fine. He can take it. Give us those targets. He seemingly lost Darrell, seemingly lost Jerick McKinnon, Tyreek Hill's out of the picture. Like, Clyde has 55 catches in his first 2 seasons combined. I would take the over on that for 2022 alone.
Yeah, I mean, at the ADP, I'm fine. I just hate taking players I'm not really that excited about. But he is a value, most likely right now. What are we at? Pick 103. He just went. So
okay. Good for you, Brian Oliver, 2-0. But yeah, I understand that.
Who's there at tight end and quarterback, Ian? Sorry.
You're good. I understand.
I like the Tyler Boyd call that you have sitting over there with the stack with Joey Burrow. Is Gronk still there?
Gronk's still there.
I think we got to go ahead and swing on Gronk. Is Albert O there?
No. Oh my gosh, he is.
If he is,
wow! I love drafting in April. People, I make the
Rashad
joke
Penny
too.
just
I make
went.
the joke too when someone gets hurt. It's like, oh, this is why we can't draft until November every year. But if you are on top of what's going on in the fantasy world, you're listening to Dwain and I every day, like it would behoove you to draft as early as possible because now you're just comparing your knowledge at this point to everyone else. Dwain, we got to go with Gronk here.
Yeah, I think go ahead and getting the tight end. I'm good. But we do have two we like. So who's there at quarterback? Just real quick.
Quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is still there.
Lance.
Trey Lance is still there. Aaron Rodgers is still there.
Woo, quick.
There's plenty of those too. So honestly, like I'm good. If you want to go tight end, like we're not like I would be fine with any one of those quarterbacks coming back. So just so people know while you're doing that, Ian, our roster so far, quarterback, we have Joe Burrow, running backs, James Conner, Travis Etienne, Devin Singletary. At receiver, we've got Devontae Adams, Stefan Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We take a tight end, and we just added Rob Gronkowski, who will move up multiple rounds of ADP as soon as he signs, with the Bucks. So we're on the clock again. And Rodgers and Hurts and Lance all went.
Quarterback run. Fields is the last one from our tier.
Yeah, I like it. I like going ahead and grabbing him.
Hell yeah. Overall thoughts on starting wide receiver strong. I love it.
Yeah, and I think now just like from a roster construction standpoint, it's tough for us to really get burned in any place. Since we did get 3 backs, fairly early, like I think this is probably a 5 running back build, maybe 4. But I think we definitely need to tack on some more receivers. I know we passed up on Tyler Boyd with that last decision. Unfortunately, we lost him.
Yeah, he got sniped before Field. So do 10 rounds though. Feeling pretty all right. And apologies, listeners, Dwain and I, kind of cutting each other off, trying to see who's on the board. I understand doing the best ball drafts might not be, the perfect podcast experience, but that's why we're not letting, this Wednesday edition get in the way of the usual schedule. Continue to have just Dwain and I talking some ball on Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout April, far more often once the draft is actually over and May swings around. So again, if you don't check us out on YouTube, pull up the laptop, throw us on the TV, whatever it might be a little bit better experience while we're going through this, but just trying to, sharpen those minds so we can be better in everything else we're bringing your way. Figure why the hell not record it as we're doing. So Dwain, we're through 10 rounds. One of the things I like to say before like real fantasy season gets going in August is bring up the point where like we don't want to get too cute in the early rounds of drafts, particularly in August. Like right now, there are some major ADP discrepancies, but those are mostly going to sort themselves out by the time August comes around. Once we start hitting, round 11, 12, though, this is where I think it's reasonable to take a stand on the guy and go get him if you want him. Any late round targets, unfortunately, we lost Rondale Moore, but anyone out here that you're just thinking like, hey, let's get them on the squad. I still see Alexander Madison sniped. We still have Albert O. We still have a lot of guys that I think are going to be out there starting in pretty damn good offenses.
Yeah, I would like to still have Albert O on this team. Like my backup plan, like if he goes and we just have to wait, I would be fine. We don't love Komet, but we do have Justin Fields on the team. Yeah.
He's been a winner so far, man. Jimmy Graham's not back, and he can't be traded now because he's not on the team.
That, or even if we went with a Hayden Hurst, like that wouldn't be like the worst thing ever. We saw Uzama have some blow up games in that offense last year. So we do need another back. And so this is what's tough with me not being able to keep up because I'm just looking at my tiers.
Running backs available: Kyron Williams, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson, Gus Edwards, Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, Ronald Jones. I have Herbert and Jones starred. We just had Chris Carson go off the board. I think Herbert's like a arbitrage, Alexander Madison, Tony Pollard type. He's a great handcuff.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree that he's that. What's his ADP? 163.
So we're reaching a little bit. We
can probably wait on him. There's nobody really above him. Like
Could Ronald Jones? Could Ronald Jones be this year's like James Conner potentially?
No, Ronald Jones, like I think is going to have value in Kansas City. I think he's probably going to just take the early down work, mostly from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's just my gut. We just haven't seen enough from Clyde, so I would be fine with him. I would even be fine with Darrell Henderson, just knowing that Akers, didn't necessarily look that great down the stretch, although it could have just totally been related to
10 seconds. The Girl Scouts out your door. Herbert or Rojo?
Take Rojo.
All right. Okay. See, I feel like we're learning something here about Ronald Jones. Gun to our head from that damn Girl Scout. We're going with Ronald Jones because, look, Dwayne, he's going to be the early down back for the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Maybe they aren't quite as good without Tyreek and everything. Still expecting Patrick Mahomes to put up plenty of numbers. I understand if you don't think Rojo's the best running back in the league, but you know what? Andy Reid and company like him enough to give him probably 150 plus touches. You can do worse in round 11. We are back on the clock. We can still get Herbert. If we get Herbert, Dwayne, I think we can probably be close to done at running back.
Yeah, I would lean to Albert. Who's got the higher ADP? I would lean to Albert.
Albert O's way lower.
Is
way
it?
lower.
Okay, so we can wait. I just don't know where he's going now.
Let's go Herbert, and we'll be done with running backs.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
No Tariq either. Albert O went the next pick.
Yeah, I felt it. We needed Albert O there.
He was like 230.
I know, but just knowing the hype on him here lately, that was the pick.
Oh well, we got Gronk well after value. We still got Irv Smith, Logan Thomas, Higbee, Komet. We're freaking fine, man. Albert O, I don't care. How about that? Curtis Samuel still on the board. Life is good. OBJ just went. When's the OBJ domino going to fall, man? We don't have any idea what's going on with the health. I've seen him linked to like a dozen teams at this point. You talk about like someone just benefiting right now from movement. It's Allen Robinson because Robert Woods is gone and the OBJ signing isn't even happening, apparently. I don't know, man. I'm just waiting for any sort of news on that. Maybe he's waiting closer to the season, but you would think after the performance he put on with the Rams that somebody will be willing to give him a little bit more than a prove it deal.
Yeah, I think it's just all injury related. I mean, people just, there have been rumors like he could miss over half the season. So, I don't know. The last time he came back from an ACL, I think it was 9 to 10 months, I believe. I was reading something about it just the other day. So don't quote me on that. But I mean, if you're looking at when the injury occurred in the Super Bowl late, like, man, he's probably looking at, it might be November before he's really ready to play. I think that's the challenge with OBJ.
An interesting study from an OG in the industry, Josh Hernsmeyer, always doing great stuff at 538, where he was quoting a study from some sort of a medical journal. And the idea was that, running backs and linebackers showing up as terrible bets to recover from the ACL. And basically what it was going through, it was pretty stark numbers. Only 28.5% of running backs that have been severely affected by an ACL injury are still in the league 3 years after the injury. My first thought, Dwayne, was like, how many, if we take that, moving 3 years forward number, X+3 to the running back position, regardless of the ACL injury, I'm sure the number is going to be kind of low because we know the lifespan of running backs is so short.
Yeah, that was the one thing that stood out. I read it too, and I was like, well, 3 years later, half the running backs period are going to be out.
And Josh talked about that, but Josh's conclusion was like, that's fair, but directionally the study's kind of findings still tend to be correct. Is that wrong, man? Like, I don't think it's a, death blow to the running back necessarily. It doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it doesn't help. So I honestly probably had just thought that ACLs were, at this point, like ACLs just weren't bothering me really with any position.
Yeah.
It makes sense that quarterbacks would be fine, which that study also showed, because we've seen the quarterbacks do well. They don't have to depend on change of direction as much. Unless they're one of the mobile guys. So, overall, the findings, made sense, but it definitely opened my eyes to the fact that it can just, maybe it's a little bit tougher for the running backs.
Dwayne, I had a dream last night. Isaiah McKenzie got traded to the Cowboys. Is that what's that say about me as a person? I don't know.
I don't know. I like Curtis Samuel though, and I think we need another receiver at this point.
Oh, Steve the Weave is crushing it. He's sniped Tim Patrick right out from under our noses. Curtis Samuel, I think makes sense, man. We got Jarvis Landry, Laviska Shenault, Josh Palmer, a bunch of guys that aren't even guaranteed to be like in starting 2-3 wide receiver sets. Like if we just forgot last year happened and we had Curtis Samuel like getting paid the amount that he has gotten paid, still just 25 years old. I just kept talking so you wouldn't even have a chance to rebuttal, Dwayne. Curtis Samuel, welcome to the squad.
I already said take him.
I wasn't listening, I was on a roll there. But no, man, all arrows pointing up for Curtis Samuel. It's just I don't understand the hesitation with this guy and why he needs to be like outside the top 50 or 60 wide receivers. Round 13, man, for a guy that 2 years ago with Teddy Bridgewater under center was a top 24 wide receiver. Like, football has happened in more years than just 2021. Quit holding one injury-ridden season so much against the guy. But we are back on the clock.
What do tight ends look like with Gronk?
Cole Kmet, Logan Thomas, Irv Smith. I have Irv ahead of these guys, but because we have Fields, I'm not against going with Logan. What say you? Kmet. That's what I meant.
I'm fine with either one. I do feel like Irv Smith, for whatever reason, has more upside. I have him in the same tier, though. So I would go with either one of them. I do think we need to go ahead and grab one of these tight ends. And again, I can't hardly even see the ADP. So, but I don't know how accurate the ADP is anyway.
Irv Smith, welcome to the squad, the late round tight end of 2022. Some might say me. I guess I'm the one saying it. So here we are. Hey, number 3 pass game option in Minnesota shouldn't be leaving the field nearly as often with Kevin O'Connell. Have not seen the Vikings, go out there and get another tight end. Yet another one of my top 25 winners of this offseason cycle. The dude's 23 years old. He is legit as a receiver too, man. I know he didn't put up like massive numbers at Alabama, but it's just one of those offenses where when they have so many places to go with the ball, I'm not all that surprised that he was kind of left behind in it. So you look at what he did the first 2 years in the league. I mean, out in the slot, legitimately, like, he was one of those guys, I think last offseason, maybe it was the 2020 one, but they were, doing the classic, like, yeah, we're looking to use 2 tight ends on the field. We'll line up Irv more as a wide receiver. And that usually ends up being more coach speak than anything. But the point is, he does have that in his range of options, Dwayne. Like, we want these tight ends that can be confused for a wide receiver when they're running routes and catching it. Irv Smith is one of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, former high second round pick from Alabama, like, we know the pedigree's there. So he's a guy that I feel good about. I've got a tier 2A that's got Freiermuth, Knox, Gesicki, Fant, Irv Smith Jr., Cole Kmet, David Njoku. They've all got traits that we like. They could all bust, but they also all have like one really redeeming quality about them. Like, for Dawson Knox, it's less about him, more about his offense. But I do like that tier and making sure that we grab one of those guys. What do the receivers look like now, Ian?
Going through some of them that stand out. Marvin Jones is probably going to be in 3 wide receiver sets. I know he's getting old. Sky Moore is still available. He seems like a possible.
I like Sky Moore. I would rather have Sky Moore than anybody that we have in the queue right now.
Sky Moore to the top of the queue. Nico Collins, Donovan
Austin Gill
Peoples-Jones.
nailed the Sky Moore thing today on Good
Golden
Morning
Tate
Football.
comp, right?
Yep.
Shout out Austin G on Good Morning Football, PFF representing out here. John Mechie.
He just Sky Moore just went.
Oh, this isn't even live. How are we getting sniped like this? Wandale Robinson, Justin Ross.
Is Will Fuller there still, or he go?
I think he won. Christian Watson. I kind of like that call. He's been getting mocked up a little bit lately.
Yeah, there's been mocks of him potentially going to Buffalo.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, that would be hot. Like, Kansas City would be hot.
I mean, Robbie Anderson probably shouldn't be this cheap, but I'll go Christian Watson ahead of all these guys right now.
Yeah, scroll up. Like, I don't even mind Julio Jones at this point. I think he's going to sign somewhere. I don't mind Kendrick. I don't mind Kendrick Bourne in a best ball. Like, he's really he's a spike week player, but he'll give you spike weeks. So,
I feel like, Julio at this point is clearly taking his time. I don't see Julio like not starting somewhere in week 1 if he's healthy.
The other one, is Zamir White still there at running back? We've had 5 backs.
Yeah,
I really like Khalil Herbert. I think we probably reached a little on him, though. I don't think people are as on to him. I think you're 100% correct in your assessment of him and that he's an arbitrage Madison. But we can. In some of these drafts in the future, though, I really want to test, like, what do people know about Herbert? My guess is he's more of an 18th, 19th round pick.
We're on the clock, Dwayne. Christian Watson, Julio Jones, James Cook, Zamir White. Who you want?
Go ahead and take Watson. Let's add a young receiver to the squad. I like what we have above him already. We've got Devontae Adams, Stefan Diggs, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Watson is a guy that I like adding. He's a little bit more raw, so like we really need him to come in and like pick up, an NFL offense quickly. So there's definitely risk with him. But where we are, I'll take it for the upside, especially knowing that you've got 2 picks for the Packers, 2 picks for the Chiefs at the end of the first round. So for some reason, the run on the receivers, all the main guys that we would expect to, go are already gone, then Watson's name could easily be called by one of those two teams. And so you get to match him up with Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes. Like, I think we'll take it.
James Cook or Zamir White?
Let's take Cook. Let's take Cook first, just because the PPR, this is a half point. We are playing underdog, so it's not quite as good as full PPR, but his overall profile, just more explosive plays. Zamir White was really the better player coming out of high school. So I like both, but I like grabbing Cook just because I feel like he could come in, Ian, and really carve out like an immediate role in a passing game, and maybe he gives you that big play upside.
If I had to critique our draft strategy, I think you were onto something there. It probably took Herbert, maybe even Rojo, a little bit earlier than we would have. Seeing some of the running backs that are still available, like with Zamir, with James Cook. I mean, even guys like Justin Jackson, he might be back with the Chargers. I know he's still a free agent, but Jamal Williams, like J.D. McKissick, Deontay Foreman, even Dearness Johnson, like there's still reasonable running backs that I don't think are, at least value-wise, that big of a drop-off if we're already using them as our RB4, RB5 on the roster, whereas some of these wide receivers, it is becoming a little bit more of wishful thinking. So I kind of wish we would have had more, I guess, shots at that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 range before they passed. Is that fair?
Totally agree. Again, that's why we're doing these, so people can hear, like, we're also going through a thought process, like, And you and I are merging like how we both think about drafts, so if you folks are going to be out there partnering up on drafts, maybe you're doing main events and you're pairing up, which Ian and I will probably do that too. But you just you got to get your feet under you. You got to get a feel for each other. And the 30-second clock, though, honestly, is the most fun part about this, because just forcing like these decisions so quickly, we're going to have to toy around with a way that I can better keep up with the queue. We'll figure that out off air.
Absolutely. As we're moving into round 17 squad so far: quarterback Joe Burrow and Justin Fields, running back James Conner, Travis Etienne, Devin Singletary, Ronald Jones, Khalil Herbert, and James Cook. Wide receiver Stefan Diggs, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Curtis Samuel, and Christian Watson. Tight end, we got Rob Gronkowski and Irv Smith. Dwayne, we have, let's see, we're going to have
structurally, 17. I want another swing at receiver here. I'm actually fine. I don't know.
We have 3 more picks. I
don't mind an extra tight end, because just in case with Gronk, like we took our swing on Gronk. I'm not that concerned about another quarterback though with Burrow and Fields. So like maybe you just study like the way a lot of these teams structurally win. Like it's tough to have 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends. I think we definitely need another swing at receiver. I would like another swing at tight end. What are your thoughts?
I don't think we need another quarterback, particularly with the ones that are available. Like, okay, if we could still maybe get a Malik Willis, like swing for the fences, that'd be one thing. But right now, like Goff, Jimmy G, Davis Mills, Kenny Pickett, just not really great pickings there at quarterback.
Well, I think by taking Gronk and just there's that slight unknown that he still could retire, that created a situation where we probably need 3 tight ends, which makes it really hard. See, Ruby agrees. It makes it really hard to go 3 quarterbacks, but I think your thought process on the type of quarterback we would want would absolutely be correct, like in a Malik Willis type, but I don't think it's right for this roster. I think we need a tight end, but I don't know what's left.
So I toyed with this idea last year when we didn't know if it was going to be Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. Because of that, they were both just so depressed in price. Like, because of that uncertainty, they were both like going outside the top 30 quarterbacks. My argument was, why not take both of these guys with like round 15 or later picks, hoping that you're going to get a QB, one upside QB 2 more weeks than not. I understand the rationale for not handcuffing is that you're not going to get the best out of those picks. But to me, that's more of an issue when you're drafting Zeke in round 1 and Tony Pollard in round 9. Like, okay, if Pollard goes off, then your round 1 pick is doomed. I think when you're handcuffing with 2 extremely late round picks, it's more feasible. So do we use the last pick in the draft on Cameron Brate, who would, be zooming up draft boards should Gronk retire?
I would be okay with it, but I would also be okay with Hayden Hurst, who I think you could get in the very last round, because we would pair him with Joey Burrow, former high round draft pick. I know he's moved around a bit, but I mean, look, they drafted Kyle Pitts. What are you going to do? And now he was an older rookie when he came out, so I think he's already like older than Amari Cooper, which is weird. But
wow,
I think he's like 30. So I would be fine with Hayden Hurst, and I don't think anybody.
Dude, he already went.
He went?
Who the hell took Hayden Hurst?
Well, there you go. He's gone.
Hey, do we want Zamir White? He's rather inexplicably still here. I think we have 4 more picks, so we can use one more on a running back if we like him.
I don't like taking this many backs, honestly, in best ball, but like he's the value. No, hey, and Justin Ross is there.
You want Justin?
Yeah, I like Justin Ross too.
Okay.
And I like Mo Alley Cox. I think you're onto something having him already over in the queue because he's a player that has
late round tight end.
Yeah. He has flashed, even though he's only had limited playing time. In the time he's been on the field, like he's had two out of 4 years have been really good as far as yards.
He just got like what, 18 million?
Yeah. So, and look, and with Jack Doyle being retired, like there is a chance, like he's an older player, but he's also a guy that got into football late. So we could have a narrative that supports why it's taking him longer. Oh my God, Paris Campbell's still available. He definitely needs to be on the squad. But then we got 2 Colts. But I like both of those. I like everybody you have in the queue right now.
Okay. We got 3 more picks. Do you want Zamir or not? He's definitely not going to be there on the next wraparound.
I'm looking right now. And Jahan Dotson, he went.
2, 1. Paris Campbell.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know it was literally on us. I was asking if Jahan Dotson was gone or not. But I'm fine with the Paris Campbell move. Still an explosive player.
3 Buckeyes. Not surprised.
Yeah.
Terry Curtis.
I'm not surprised either.
Oh, well. Nate Diaz. I'm not surprised. All right. Mike Davis just went. Congrats on wasting that pick. Mighty O'Neal. Trey Sermon, round 18. You never know. Auden Tate, let's go. Round 18. People unironically drafting Auden Tate in the year 2022. It's a great time to be alive. Dwayne. Wan'Dale Robinson, is he someone that we're looking at? Do we think there is what's your percentage chance of Antonio
I think the problem for Wan'Dale, I don't think I worry he's a borderline day 2 pick. Right, and fair. If he's not going to be one, man, I'll tell you, like this receiver class, like there's a lot of things to like about a lot of these different players, but I don't think we have a real firm handle on where these guys are going to go. Like once you get past like the top 5 or 6, like it wouldn't surprise me if they went in the 2nd round, but I think some of these players will fall into the 4th round and we're going to be like, whoa, okay, how did this happen? The backs are actually the same way. Like there's a lot that are mocking inside the top 100 right now that we could easily see them fall out, like Dameon Pierce, Brian Robinson. Like I'm still leaning into those players right now late in drafts, but we're definitely going to get some surprises on draft day. Things aren't going to go exactly the way we think.
What do you think the percentage chances are of Antonio Brown playing football in 2022?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, I'd put it 1 in 5, 20%er.
So is he worthy of a last round pick?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, well, the thing is, if he plays,
like he's going to be a top, at worst, top 36.
Yeah, you don't want a ton of giveaway picks in your best ball draft. This is a 20 rounder, so that helps a little more than some of the drafts that might be, a little shorter. But yeah, you don't want to come out, already having like 3 empties in the chamber, like right out of the gate, the beginning of the season. I don't think this is the build where we got to do it, to be honest. Like just looking how strong to the hole we went, like with receiver early, with Adams, Diggs, McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Roster construction wise, like I think Antonio Brown would make a lot more sense if we hadn't done that. And plus, we already came back with the Christian Watson pick that's kind of similar, but it's on a rookie. And then I like the fact that we have Samuel. I'm down for another receiver. I don't think it has to be Brown here. I'm fine at this point going ahead and grabbing Mo Alley Cox or Zamir White. Who are the other tight ends? Just because I know we took Paris Campbell. I don't know that we want to double up on the freaking run-heavy Colts, like 2 pass catchers.
Brevin Jordan, Donald Parham, Johnny Smith, Adam Troutman. No one of much interest here. Harrison Bryant.
At this point, like I think the trade-off and strategy, I would just go with Mo Alley Cox.
I think so too.
Like I don't think it's a big enough trade-off, to swing me towards one of those other players. You could talk me into Brevin Jordan. I definitely want a little exposure to him this year. But that.
Hey, what do you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine going Mo Alley Cox here, but someone I did see is still available. What's Samaje Perine just going at the complete end of drafts? I know we're not going to get I think there's no chance of like flex standalone value. I wouldn't be shocked if Chris Evans actually moves a little bit up, in his usage, particularly in the pass game this year. But if Mixon goes down, I think Pirine would probably be a safe bet for 15 plus touches per game. And you can do a lot worse than that in round 19, 20.
Yeah, I like him. I don't think he's right for this roster build, like similar to like what we were talking about for Antonio Brown.
Yeah, that's fine. I just mean more so like overall at this point in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a handcuff that's like, he's not like Khalil Herbert and Madison, obviously, because we think they can actually come in and probably put up like 80 to 90% of what the starters do. But I think Pirine, like he could come in and do like 60, 70%. We'll have to see what they do in the draft. But like Chris Evans, I do think could take a step forward in the passing game this year.
Last pick, Dwayne. I got Zamir White, AB, James Washington, Samaje Pirine, Deontay Foreman in the queue.
And Mo Cox is gone.
We already got Mo Cox.
Yeah, I'm fine with Zamir White at this point. I don't like normally taking this many running backs, but I do like the fact that we're getting the discount on the back. And he could go in the second round. And if he does, like, dude, he'll be a 10th round, 9th round pick by the time, in a week after the draft.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up the first freaking McFarland Hartitz Best Ball Special. I like our work, Dwayne. Joe Burrow, Justin Fields at quarterback, running back, James Conner, Travis Etienne, Devin Singletary, Ronald Jones, Khalil Herbert, James Cook, and Zamir White. Wide receiver, Stefan Diggs, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Curtis Samuel, Christian Watson, Justin Ross, and Paris Campbell. Tight end, we got 3 of them, but 3 pretty good ones. Rob Gronkowski, Irv Smith, and Mo Cox. That's about how I want to do my tight ends, I think, this year, though. Whether it's Gronk or not is besides the point. I want someone, probably Zach Ertz, the way things are shaking out, is like kind of where I'm drawing that line. Like, okay, I really want one of these guys. Because after that, like, okay, I'm fine throwing the dart at Irv. We have guys like Mo Cox, real late in the draft you can use to round out. But I think once you get past that tight end, 12 or 13 spot, you start to have a lot of questions in a hurry.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing, with the tight end, because we did go with Gronk, I think you definitely have to carry 3, which we talked about as we were going. But I was glad that we came back and we did nail one in that tier below with Irv Smith. I know we wanted Alberto. He was probably the pick that we might, if we could go back, like I would trade Alberto for
Khalil Herbert. I know, Dwayne, I messed up. Okay.
No, it's okay. But I think, we're learning as we're drafting. It's not like me trying to like
win or learn, right?
Out. Yeah. It's not me like telling you I'm going to punch you, break your glasses. So, I'll choose not to have violence, Ian. But just, this is just being open, like us, just thinking through like the picks we made. Like for me, like with Singletary is fine because we got what I like is the players that I didn't necessarily want to be drafting at this time of year. Like all the ones we did take were at a discount, which is basically the article I wrote today. There's several players that I'm like, hey, I'm hedging on them, but I'm not going to draft them at or above ADP right now. Devin Singletary definitely fits in that club. I like the fact that we got him below ADP. So I like the roster. Again, this is our first one together, so it's not something where we have a ton of others to compare it to.
Trying to get the full draft up. We can go through a couple of the other squads in the league. Thank you to everyone that went ahead and helped fill out that draft. Always a pain to try to find the full draft board, though.
Sorry to the guy that Ian said, congrats for wasting your pick.
When we were doing the some Twitter spaces last year, it was myself, Dwayne, and our buddy Drake, and like someone like would ask a question. I'm a pretty energetic guy sometimes, Dwayne, and as all listeners know, and so like I remember going in on a couple people, and they were just like, just being super nice and like trying to laugh it off afterwards. And I was like, man, when you're actually talking to someone, like not just speaking into a microphone, but like actually talking to someone, it's like, damn, man, you could be kind of a dick sometimes, dude. Might want to chill out a little bit. My goodness.
No, it's okay. Like Ian saved it for me on tight end talk. we made it through all the other tiers, and then like he just was having a bad day or something on tight end talk.
Dog, I cannot get the big board open. Might have to apologize to the folks I said I was going to break down their draft, but you blame Underdog, not me. I love Underdog though. It is a great brand for the homies. Even if you're into golf and basketball, they got some good stuff going on as well. To me, Underdog and Sleeper are revolutionizing the fantasy game. Daring to be different, if you will. Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. I cannot get the big board open. Okay, I can look at the other teams, though. Here we go. Looking at Al Craig, 111, Watson to a Baker. Got Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall start, 5 running back build. Wide receivers, relying a little bit on the Burks, George Pickens to hopefully carry them, but I like the Hopkins, value just because he's a little bit older.
I like the Traylon Burks pick too. Got him a little bit after ADP. Got George Pickens right around ADP, and there's several rumors that Pickens could make it into the first round, and he could be one of those guys that could go to Kansas City or go to Green Bay.
So love the Alexander Madison pick. Good stuff, Al Craig. Looking at Ethan R., Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, 2 QBs, CMC and Saquon. There we go. Mostert, Tyler Algier, and Marlon Mack afters. Hey, you're hoping you got the 2 RB1s in McCaffrey and Barkley, and if you do, it's not going to matter as much. And it did a good job to load up on some of these wide receivers. Sky Moore, Will Fuller, Olave, London. A lot of shots at guys that, could really see their ADP absolutely booming up. And Jacoby Myers still going pick 119. Not the sexiest wide receiver out there in terms of, I think, overall upside, but where he's going, I think a good example of someone probably being priced a little bit closer to their floor. This is a good squad, Dwayne. Even got Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett as solid enough late round tight ends. In Kmet's case, going well past ADP.
Yeah, no, I agree. Man, we can't see the board. If you click on that view full draft, it won't let you?
I don't know why it won't let me.
We'll have to figure that out. Like, I remember last year, like, doing this, and for whatever reason, it was weird, like, finding the board, like, and I haven't drafted on Underdog this season, so, yeah.
Everyone seems to be pretty content to actually go in on just a couple early round RBs. Dare we? I think next time, Dwayne, what could be fun is like doing a robust RB start and seeing what the wide receivers will shake out like later. I think a hero-ish RB route is going to be ideal this year, but I do wonder if we decide to scoop up a bunch of guys early, because it does seem like people are trending towards taking the wide receivers earlier than kind of the dead zone running backs this year.
Yeah, but for me, like, that makes the strategy, like, I love waiting on the backs because I know everybody's letting them hang out there. And so it's like, if I can build up the receivers early, and so it's like, it's a double-edged sword, really. I mean, so one, we know everybody is going to be plowing through the receivers, so you want to have some. Two, we know that we can wait and still get our backs that we like, that we can specifically target, and we can build some different teams. And the other thing, just with robust, from a pure number standpoint, like, they just typically don't work out. Like, I'm fine building a few for that year where it does work. But if I draft backs early, typically I just want to go like hyper fragile. Like, if we want to go like 3 backs out of the gate, like, I can pull the trigger on that. But then it's like, you know what? We're only going to take one more back. And then we're going to really nail the receivers. We're going to really nail the tight ends. You got to make sure that we win in some other spots.
Here's a bet on the game who had a couple picks throughout the draft I really liked. Snipe Rondale Moore from us. I think Zach Ertz was a good spot there, even though it was before ADP. I disagree with the ADP. Obviously, gotta love the Auden Tate pick. But you saw he went Najee, Kamara, and Dobbins in 3 of the first 4 picks. If you're going to do that, you cannot take Mahomes early. Like, all right, don't take Mahomes unless you have Tyreek or Kelsey coming to you early on. You're just not really optimizing your lineup. And in these best ball ones, I know this is just a 12-person, $5 tournament, but stacking is more important than ever in best ball. So, to really have none of your top receivers matching up with your quarterbacks, hardly ideal. I know we were snagging some of the Washington guys away from Carson Wentz. I guess he did get Wentz and McKissick, but at the same time, I do think once you load up on those RBs, you're just not exactly loving the wide receivers. Michael Pittman, Gabriel Davis, Adam Thielen, Rondale Moore, Michael Gallup. You can see how they work out, but obviously there's quite a bit lower floor than if you're at least using one of those first 4 or 5 picks on the position.
That Kyler Murray is the one. Go back up.
He went pick 66. Yeah, he was after ADP.
He was the one other one that, like, had we really been like working our board, like, I can't remember who it was that we took at that pick. But Kyler Murray, like, he's one that I would like to have if you can get some exposure to. Like, he's one of the only guys that I think, really has, he and Josh Allen, they have that ability to be 4,500 to 5,000 passing yards and 750 rushing yards. Like, we know Lamar has that 1,000 yard rushing season in him, but I don't think either one of us think he could get to 5,000 passing yards. I think Kyler, could actually, like, if you look at his numbers, like over 17 game seasons, like, he's already done both. He was on track for 5,000 passing yards last year. he's already been over the 750 rushing yards. So we've seen him do both. It's just a matter of, can he do both in the same season? And man, I really want to get some Kyler hooked up with Rondell Moore stacks.
I also, we didn't get a chance to draft him, but Russell Gage was going late, man, like outside the top 50, 60 wide receivers. He's a guy that like that's his worst case. I think his worst case scenario is more like a wide receiver 4. Best case is that Godwin recovery doesn't go great, or Brady just loves him, period. And we actually get more of an upside wide receiver.
Minimum, you're going to get spike weeks out of him because we know that he's really good against man coverage. And not saying he is Antonio Brown, but that's really what the Bucs lost. Like Brady loved going to Antonio Brown in man coverage. Mike Evans grades out really well against man, but Brown was really the go-to guy. And so I think there is a chance, even though we know Russell Gage, again, is not Antonio Brown, that he really starts to play that role for the Bucs. And if he does, and to your point, if he starts to gain Brady's confidence, sky's the limit, if that happens, or if Godwin has a low or has a long recovery.
All right, never draft 4 quarterbacks. Graham Cracker, live you learn. I am going to give best team award to someone that actually loaded up early. Okay, the ego in me thinks that Dwain and I have the best team. But other than us, Steve the Weave, congratulations. I like your squad. Got Russell Wilson, all the Denver guys, man. I've talked about them being such a good underpriced stack. Maybe took Javonte a little bit early, but was able to get Russ, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, even KJ Hamler there at the very end. Keep an eye on that ACL recovery. I was hearing something that it is, quite a bit of a severe injury, and he's not a guarantee to be back. But, when you're getting him in one of your last picks, I do see the allure on with running backs Javonte, Nick Chubb, and Aaron Jones, but I thought got some good value. Weave, Dwain, someone I was cursing out throughout the draft for getting us a couple times. Really liked the squad he put together.
No, I think he did a nice job as well. I love the stack that he put together.
He got Albert O too.
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily like the route I try to take in 12-team leagues, but like if this was a big tournament, like I would really point to his roster. But I do think it's a good construction. And if you look at he got a lot of these guys. He did reach on several players, but again, these 80, I don't know how on target this ADP is right now.
And I wouldn't know with the Albert O thing. 30, these are 30-second clocks. 30 seconds pretty tough, but if you have a couple minutes, pay attention to who's picking after you and if they're going to be sniping the one guy that you're holding on to. Like if we had just looked a little bit of what Steve DeWeave was doing and saw we already had Russell Wilson, probably would have been a much bigger sign for us to go ahead and get Albert O. So, Dwayne, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight after the Khalil Herbert debacle. Other than that, though, I think the first run through of this went good. Again, appreciate all you listeners out there. Encourage you guys to check out the YouTube side of things. Much easier, I think, to know what's going on when you can see the cues, see the draft board and everything else that's going on. But Dwayne and I will be back on Thursday, regular audio edition of the pod. I mean, we always have video, but regular, not doing a best ball draft edition. I want to highlight the 25 players that I do believe have seen their stock rise. Dwayne's going to have his reverse engineered best ball draft, maybe some other goodness. I don't know. It's a fluid plan here on the PFF Fantasy Football Podcast, but always is a great day to be great. Dwayne, any final thoughts?
No, man, it's good to get a draft under our belts, like we mentioned. Coming through all that we did last week with the tiers, started talking about strategy this week. I do think we need to be more intentional. Like we should think through, like, okay, if you're drafting now, like what are the absolute advantages we should be taking, that we should really be capitalizing on?
Yeah.
But I think it was the first draft. So it's like a matter of like, okay, we got to work through some of these things. But if folks want to see it, like the article came out today on PFF, I actually put it out there this morning, so you can see the players that I'm targeting, the players that I'm fading, the players that I'm farkling, I don't know, and the players that I'm straddling, or you could call hedging. But basically, it's just about like if you're drafting right now, this is probably going to be the best time as far as ADP goes to draft a certain group of players. Then there's another group that could really go either way. So you're going to want some balanced exposure. We talked about Devin Singletary. He's one of those. And basically my rule of thumb on those is just draft them below ADP, but don't get overweight on them. So we did that today. And then the last bucket is really, the guys that you want to be fading, meaning like their best case scenario is pretty much already baked into their ADP. So like Juju Smith-Schuster is a good example. Going the 6th round, people think he's a wide receiver 3. He probably is, but the Chiefs have 2 picks at the end of the 1st round. They're using one of those on a receiver, like it's almost guaranteed. So it's not even about hating on Juju. You could still love Juju and get him in the 8th round the week after the draft. You just get a better ADP on him. So if you plan on drafting throughout the season, now's not the time to draft Juju. Now's not the time to draft Javonte Williams, because if Melvin Gordon resigns, he's going to drop to the middle of the 2nd. He's not going to cost a late 1st. But if Melvin Gordon doesn't resign, it's not like he's going to move to pick 1-2. Yeah. Like he's going to move up to pick 109. So just it's about balancing those things and thinking about, okay, if I'm going to draft all offseason, I want to be really intentional about getting the best value around ADPs as best possible as we can. So I'm mostly focused like on the first 10 rounds. So I may do another piece. I did have some late round guys in there. I may do one more like here in another week where we focus on some of the late round guys.
For Dwain, I'm Ian. Thanks for tuning in to PFF Fantasy Football Podcast. Until next time, take care, everybody.